Welcome, Sharmila. So good to have you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Malini. It's always lovely talking to you.
Okay, so could you share a little about your journey from being one of the top models of the country to being an entrepreneur today?
Now I don't, I can't even remember those modeling days, but I was never a top model. I was a good ramp model. And it was very exciting in those days because the only entertainment anybody had here was going to an event where there was a fashion show. So yes, the modeling career was amazing. Nothing like it is today. It was much simpler. And I traveled a lot. You see a lot of places. I made a lot of very good friends who are still very good friends of mine till today, which is a good thing. You learn to live with people, you learn to share a room, you're young, you're just like in your teens, and you sort of grow up. You sort of grow up traveling at that time. Of course, a lot of it is you learn a lot about your own grooming. You learn a lot about how to look, how to walk, how to talk, because you're constantly on the move and on the ramp. So, and then of course my life took off from there to becoming a choreographer. Thanks to a friend of mine, Nandini Sen, who was actually leaving town, and she had taken on this one particular fashion show in Bangalore. And she said, no, you're the only one who can do it. So at that point, that became a super hit kind of thing. And then my career as a choreographer started. So that was my journey from a model to a choreographer.
And then an entrepreneur.
And then, while I was a choreographer, I changed events came into place. So, brands started wanting to also publicize, but if they were not close, they didn't know how to do it, besides putting an ad in the paper. So, like for example, I launched makeup, I launched watches, I launched cars. I even brought a car onto stage during a fashion show. And that was like a huge thing. I launched Mac in India, I launched watches, Dior watches, lots of designer bags and whatever. That's when you realize it's not all about doing a fashion show, but doing an event. So I started doing events where you have, normal people walk into your store to try your makeup, to try, see your new collection. So I started doing events. And at the same time, Malvika Sangvi started something on Bombay Times called Page 3. So it collaborated. She kept saying, whatever you're doing, just send me some pictures. So I would say, okay. And those days there were no phones. So we didn't have photographs on our phones. So we always had a photographer. In fact, a lot of the paps that you see now in Bollywood, they used to be my photographers. And so we used to I used to always say, Acha, Malvika ko bhej do, email kar do, So Page 3 kind of started happening like that. So events started on Page 3. Maybe a lot thanks to me, and a lot, of course, they covered Bollywood all the time. So at that time, my event career really took off. So anybody who had any product used to contact me to say, how do we do an event? How do we go about this? Can you invite a few of your friends? Can you invite a few people? So if I know some of my friends use makeup like Mac, I said yes. And Mickey, the makeup artist, he called in a few of his celebrity of Bollywood. So basically, events were like a big thing. Like I said, even something like Mac, when they launched in India, and Mickey was one of the best makeup artists we have. So he got in few of his celebrities to come in and try the Mac makeup. And I got in a few of my friends who I knew all used Mac and used to go abroad to buy Mac. And Mickey and the top Mac makeup people flew in, and I got everybody's faces done. So, just not by saying, come and see the makeup, these kind of people can go and buy this kind of makeup anywhere, but come, try, see what looks good on you. That kind of thing really worked. So lots of my events landed up being products, including fashion. So fashion would be connected to a show, and like a jewelry person. For example, when Cartier did their fashion show in India, I suggested that we did a roundtable sit-down dinner because that's their way of doing it. And we had models walk through the audience around the tables. Otherwise, how would they see jewelry on a ramp far away? So then they would sit on that table and they would show the jewelry that they were wearing. So that was a really nice thing to do. And well, I've even got fridges on stage, so don't even ask. But Shamak and dancers dance around many times, a lot of products. And yeah, so that's what my career as a event person. From those events, I got invited to be on the board of one of IMC to help them with one of these women entrepreneur events that they do. So I started getting a whole lot of people who were designers, bags, shoes, clothes, whatever. And I did this lifestyle exhibition. That became a super hit because everybody, we know where all the big stores are, but a lot of people don't walk into big stores. A lot of people don't say, oh, where are we going to go to Ensemble? Where are we going? So this crowd was a fabulous buying crowd that came to exhibitions to shop. Thereafter, I got into doing this lifestyle exhibitions, which I now promote women entrepreneurs, anybody who's starting a business. I consult with them. I tell them how to go about it. I tell them how to start, how to promote themselves, because a lot of people don't know anybody. A lot of people don't know anybody on how to promote what sells in the market. See, what happens is a lot of kids who come out of NIFT or they come out of, they've done some graphic design course. They don't know what's the next step. You see, where do you go from there? Now, what you're taught is to sketch and whatever, how to make. But you are not taught that your design in your head may not be what's trending now to sell. You have to know what's trending to sell. So therefore, I guide them. I tell them that, see, this is the market now. This is it. Like, for example, after COVID, okay? People haven't worn their clothes in 2 years. You know, so I've been telling people, do not make heavy stuff. All their heavy stuff is still lying in the cupboard. If there's a wedding and it's not your family wedding, they will wear what there is. It's only a family wedding that will buy new stuff. So I've been telling people to make affordable, wearable stuff that people wear on a daily basis. Or when you go for cocktails, you go to someone's house for dinner, you know. So, or if I'm saying somebody is doing bags, don't only do evening bags, because, you know, they still have all their evening bags. Yeah. In fact, now people are starting to travel and re-shop, so they still have a lot, you know. Yeah. So you have to guide people who have no clue after doing their course, what they should do and how to do their PR or how to sell their product, what kind of exhibitions to take part in. So this exhibition may be good for you, but the other one may not be good for you. So you go where what's good for you. You know, you don't just say, oh, I want to be part of this big exhibition. No, you may be doing very well in another exhibition. Go where that exhibition takes you. And how much to invest, what to spend, and like I said, how to basically take your business forward. So this is what I am doing now.
It's absolutely brilliant. So like you said, it's important to accept change, and you've done it brilliantly. Yeah. And you've also answered a part of the question that I was going to ask you. But if there are any further thoughts on what advice would you give budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, see, now for example, there is a lot of change from my time to today. From my time, a designer, because first of all, when I used to model, there were only textile people, Vimal, Escomars, you know. Then they became designers like Rohit Bal, Rohit Khosla, Tarun Thailand. They all came into the market. Now, it was all very new, but you still needed to know how to promote. So a budding designer who has no name needs to learn today's ways of promoting. So today's social media is so big. I literally run my shows on social media. And it is something that everybody is looking at because it's in your hand. So I see so many people right now doing it in such a bad way and so many people doing it in such a good way. So you have to figure out what attracts the audience to it. That's where influencers come in. So influencers are very good according to me, because influencers is something you will follow. I buy stuff when I see it on an influencer. I always say, where is this from? Where do you get this? Where do you get that? And I know, because sometimes I put up stuff. Like if I got a good restaurant, I've eaten great food, everybody asks me, where is this Shams? Where have you got to eat? What is the food? You know? So influencers are very big. So today the way to go is an influencer. Now, one thing is that a lot of people don't have money. Influencers are not cheap. So if you're starting a business, you build your own line. So for example, if I'm starting, say, I do candles. Okay, suppose I do candles. How do I do it? I put it up on Instagram. Boost your post to whichever city, area you want it. Whoever you know, send a candle free. Just send them a free candle so they know what you do. Suppose yours is a candle where you put a diya in it and the whole thing lights up outside and it's got a Ganesha, it's got a, I know people who do stuff like that. Or take part in smaller exhibitions first, which will promote you on social media. So once you take part in smaller, many small ones, and when people come to your store, anybody who buys one, give them one small thing free. The idea is to build your name, to understand that you want people to have it. If you give somebody a candle free, that person, in turn, that box is going to be recycled because they will give it to another friend as a gift. So your brand name is everywhere. So young people have to think of innovative ideas. If they cannot afford an influencer, definitely you're on social media. And how do you go about it?
Great. That's really very, very useful. You mentored and helped so many women in their journey to become entrepreneurs, including me. What, according to you, are the main barriers or problems they are facing?
Well, the main barrier and problem is in the time, there is no entrepreneurship course. There's no place where somebody... See, you can do a course. Let me tell you, in COVID, I did 2 courses in Harvard on entrepreneurship and leadership. And I did one from Berkeley. But that's an American way of thinking. You need to understand the market that you live in. So when you live in India, there are people who should... Actually, they should contact us, come to us and give us advice. Now, Shan has Networking Now. Networking Now India is a platform for entrepreneurs, and she tells you how to move forward. She does a lot of offline events. You should take part in all those events because you meet all the millennial youngsters today. But people sometimes call me and say, Shams, I don't know which exhibition to take part in. What is the collection I should make? Like you and me used to sit and say, okay, this year crossbodies are good. This year, let's do batuas, weddings are good. So we have to figure out what the trend is, and then you should take the help from a professional person who knows what's going on.
Yeah, great. So you're probably one of the pioneers in launching and marketing of brands. You have touched upon it already, but how different do you think it was then and now?
Very different. Malini, I'm talking about 30 years ago. 30 years ago, there was no phone. One was the biggest thing, there was no phone. So I remember people who used to sell saris over kitty parties. Yeah. I remember people during kitty parties or Indus, or there was no YPO even then those days. In clubs, if there was a fair, there was a bazaar, there was a flea market, people used to take part in things like that. And it was a very difficult thing to do because, to put an ad in the paper, you would, like you have galleries in town, Akar Art Gallery, you would do an exhibition there, you would put an ad in the paper, so, and a lot of people don't know anybody. So people who see the ad would say, okay, what is this? What is that? By the way, that's the other thing. Every entrepreneur, youngster today on a startup company, I always tell them, the biggest thing that sells is a good photo shoot. So you have to make a really good photo shoot. And if you cannot afford it, there are lots of photographers today, videographers today, who will do it for you in a cheaper budget. Networking Now suggests all that to you, but you've got to do that. You can't just say, I'm going to wear my clothes and start modeling in it now. No, that doesn't work. But you have friends. So if you have, say, bags, you can give it to 3 different people and say, can you carry this for me? Can I take a picture with it? That's the kind of thing to do. So a photo shoot is very important. And of course, those days we did photo shoots, but for ads in the paper. For example, if I did an Escomar, or I did I was modeling for a camera, or if I was modeling for a garden saris, it was all a photography situation to put it in the magazine or in the papers. Magazine was a very good thing. Now magazine, I'm sadly, not many of us see it. We see it online. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
True. So another question which I think is quite useful, because you've just got so much experience and the success. How would you use this to inspire the youth today, especially the young girls?
I feel that you've got to understand what you have to do in college. I have seen so many girls who have gone to college, done one course, and after finishing for 3-4 years, have gone back to doing a course which gives them a career. You have to, from the beginning, do a course which gives you a career. Because nobody's going to give you a gold medal for doing any other course. You're just going to get, your graduation day, you'll be wearing your hat and throwing your hat, and that's it. You've got to have a career-oriented thing. Or you do an MBA, or you do a whatever, business, whatever. Have one of the things I truly believe in, schools need to teach everybody how girl or boy, they need to have their own financial backing. Whichever family you come from, wherever you come from. If your father is got everything for you, join his company. Do an MBA and join his company. So my thing is, everybody needs to do something. I find today, boys also want girls who have careers. Unless you've had 3 kids one after another, then 6 years of your life is gone. You know what I mean? But you have to have something to do. So I say, you can't take up a job, don't. You can't do a business of where you have to keep running out of the house with the kids, don't. I have put so many women to work at home. I can't tell you the amount of people I put into doing cooking, the amount of people who supply stuff, the amount of people who do skin products, the amount of people who do, there are women can sit at home today and run a business. And by the way, COVID has proved that. Before you used to say no, but today COVID has proved that,
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, you have to do something. You have anybody, especially a girl, has to have some financial backing of her own and do something. Because if you don't do something in your life, you don't grow mentally. It keeps your marriage going. It keeps your children going. Your children see that you're doing something. You have something to talk about in today's world. What's happening in today's world? Otherwise, I know friends of mine who return a WhatsApp message after 2 days. And I think that's really rude because that's not done. But they are just housewives. They're only cooking. They're only cleaning. You understand? And a housewife's job is a lot. So you don't have time. But the point is she's not learned the net. She doesn't know how to surf. She doesn't know how to go onto it. She doesn't know how to watch anything. So till the Fire Stick came, she didn't know how to put on something on her phone. So, you have to go with the times. And sometimes children teach you that. By the way, children also find you very dumb if you don't know. And I still don't know a lot. So my daughter keeps saying, why don't you know this? I said, listen, nobody's taught us.
Yeah.
Nobody's taught us. We have to learn on our own now, You guys are all tech savvy. We are not so tech savvy,
True. No, but that's a huge learning because what you're saying is so true that instead of making excuses about your circumstances, work within your circumstances.
Yes.
I think that's a big learning.
Absolutely.
Big learning.
And sit at home and cook, sit at home and stitch, sit at home and knit, sit at home and do anything. Today you have people who make bread, people who make Goan food, people who do. I have numbers of 100 people I can order from today. You understand? Health food, gluten-free. There's so much to do.
Absolutely. Wonderful. It was so good to talk to you and thank you so much for your inputs and being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Malini. Always good to chat with you.
Thank you. Thank you.